In March 2016, the presidency, through one of its aides, announced that town hall meetings would begin, especially from the grassroots, before it gets to states, in order to ensure government's activities, plans and strategies are well communicated to the people. The meeting is expected to hold in 6 geopolitical zones. This is not unconnected with the various challenges bedeviling the country in virtually all facets of the economy. From the issue of insecurity in the northeast, which is being tackled head-on by the military, the current killings by the Fulani herdsmen, economic stagnancy, infrastructural decadence, poor electricity supply, and the one seen now by many as the worst of all, fuel scarcity.
Representative of major political parties.
In actualizing its promise, the first in a series of the federal government's town hall meetings held in Lagos State, Nigeria's commercial nerve.
In a meaningful way.
6 of the ministers are in attendance. Their mission is simple: to interact with the people on their prospects and achievements so far in bringing succor to the people.
Therefore, would please want to give enough time.
They are seen as the critical ministers, putting into perspective their portfolios. In attendance are the Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, the Minister for Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachiku, Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Geoffrey Onyema, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Okechukwu Enelema, and for Transportation, Mr. Chibike Amechi.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for
the Lagos meeting has the artisans, traditional rulers, students, and a cross-section of the people in attendance.
Permit me once again to thank all the ministers.
The Minister of Information, who chairs the meeting, kicks off talks, highlighting the achievements of the administration on the 3 broad areas of tackling corruption, security of lives and property, and the economy. The minister says, in tackling the Boko Haram insurgency, the president sought the support of neighboring countries, which he insists explains the reason behind the president's first trips outside the country after he was sworn in to neighboring countries like Benin, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger.
But with a sustained anti-terror campaign, heightened intelligence gathering, as well as the cooperation and vigilance of all citizens, even these attacks will fizzle out with time. The major challenge we face now is reconstruction, resettlement, and rehabilitation that will see many of our people in the various IDP camps return home. The fight against corruption. Next to insecurity is the issue of corruption. I've heard many commentators say that this administration is only fighting corruption without paying attention to the economy or any other thing. Of course, this is not true. But even if it is patently justified. Why? Because unless we fight corruption to a standstill, nothing else we do will yield positive results. It was corruption that prolonged the war against Boko Haram and dispatched many soldiers and civilians to their early graves. It was corruption that ensured that while oil was selling for over $100 per barrel, we are ready to show for the windfall. Just 55 people allegedly stole a total of 1.34 trillion naira in Nigeria, an amount that is more than 1/4 of the 2015 national budget. Using the World Bank rates and costs, we said even if just 1/3 of the stolen funds could be recovered, it will provide us with 635 kilometers of dual carriageway, which is the equivalent of 6 Lagos-Ibadan expressways. In addition, the money will still give us 183 schools. We're able to educate 3,974 children from primary schools to tertiary level. We're able to build 36 modern hospitals, 1 in each state. And money will still be left out of this to build 20,062 units of 2-bedroom flats. We also said that the money that was originally stolen represented the total earnings of 4 African nations. What we are doing basically is counting the cost of corruption to our lives.
It's the turn of the tripartite minister, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, who oversees the works, power and housing sectors. Mr. Fashola admits that currently the country runs on 5,000 megawatts of electricity, which he states is inadequate to address the nation's power problems. The former Lagos State Governor, who served for 8 years, notes that Nigerians' ways of measuring success in his ministries are not the way they should be measured. He blames the standstill in his sectors on the non-assent of the budget, which he describes as the article of faith.
ECN, the precursor to NEPA, PHCN, was, I think, inaugurated by ordinance in 1950. So that's 66 years. Why hasn't the problem been solved in 66 years? Why did we inherit it? And so I am looking at some of the things that have been done well, some of the things that could have been done better. But I will summarize the power issue simply in one word. There is not enough power. 5,000 megawatts for 170 million people odd is just not enough. The solution is delivering more power on an incremental and a sustained basis. As far as roads are concerned, especially for road workers, road transporters, the unions, and ultimately as an index of doing business, the cost of transportation ultimately affects how cheaply or expensive food reaches the table, how efficiently services are delivered. Now, if you just throw back a little bit, this country earned $100 per barrel of crude oil for a decade. Other countries also earned that kind of money. Are we as competitive as they were or that they have become? Clearly, we didn't spend our money well. Otherwise, we shouldn't have broken roads. Otherwise, we should have more power at least. So, now, there's a plan to deal with the road challenge. Unfortunately, as I speak, there is no budget. And those of us who are accustomed and are attuned to public service will understand that budget is the article of faith. Without appropriation, you can't spend money. Now, as far as housing is concerned, that is perhaps my most difficult responsibility. But there is a template and an experience with which to move from. There has been some interesting housing initiatives in the past by Lateef Kayode Jakonde, by Shagari, by Gemade, who is now a senator, interestingly. But have they been sustained? Clearly, we have had fits and starts, stop and start, because there has been no housing model that all of us as a majority can perhaps say, this is the model of the Nigerian home. I am working, and hopefully we're very close now to delivering a model that at least some majority of Nigerians can say, if I get this type of house, I will live there.
Okay.
The Transport and Aviation Minister, Mr. Chibike Amechi, believes change will not happen in a year.
This microphone. Okay.
In his presentation, the former governor of Rivers State explains how the rail project which the country has embarked on will work, especially the Lagos-Calabar and Lagos-Kano axis.
There are 3 quick areas in my ministry, or the ministry I still pretend, that will be of interest to you. The most important aspect, 2 most important aspects will be the railways, right? Okay. And you'll agree that The first railway contract in the modernization policy was awarded by our former President Obasanjo, and that is the railway from Lagos to Kano. The next one was awarded by President Goodluck Jonathan, and that is from Lagos to Calabar. In all these, there were agreements with the Chinese government that will have counterpart funding of 15%. We did not fulfill this agreement. The only place we tried a bit was a Kaduna, Abuja, which is yet to be completed, and we're working extremely hard to ensure that between June and July, we'll commercialize that rail line and to start services. That will reduce the challenges of production, that is to convey goods and services between Kaduna and Abuja. But where would the Lagos-Kano Railway take us from? It will take us from Lagos to Ibadan, Ibadan to Ilorin, Ilorin to Minna. From Minna, we'll go back into Abuja, and then to Kaduna and to Kano. Imagine that work starts on that rail line now. How many jobs we will create? And I assure you that by God's grace, before the end of the year, we will commence work on the Lagos-Kano rail line. The Lagos to Calabar rail starts from, let me start the other way around, starts from Calabar to Uyo, Uyo to Aba, Aba to Port Harcourt, Port Harcourt to Yenagoa, Yenagoa to Otuoke. Don't laugh. That small community produced a president. I don't see what's wrong in having the radar. So, Otuoke back to Yenagoa, Yenagoa to Ueli, Ueli to Warri, Warri to Sapele, Sapele to Benin, Benin to Abo, Abo to Asaba, Asaba to Onitsha, Onitsha back again to Benin, and then to Ore, I think so. Then Ore to Ijebode, Ijebode to Shagamu, Shagamu to Lagos. Now, when we took over, we discovered that there is nowhere in the world that rail lines don't end up at the seaports. But this one did not end up at the seaports. So what we did is that we said, now connect it to Calabar Seaport, to Port Harcourt and Onne Seaport, to Warri Seaport, and then to either Tinkan or Apapa. The two rail lines to either end, one will end at Tinkan, the other one will end at Apapa. What does it do for you? It means that if you are in Onitsha and you want to import through Warri, that's your business. If you're in Port Harcourt, you don't need to come to Lagos anymore to import through Lagos. The same manner for those who are in Calabar. That is what we've done. There's a rail line most Nigerians can't remember easily. And that rail line is called Itape, Warri Rail Line. How many of you remember it? 32 years ago, 32. Nigeria has been struggling to construct that rail line for 32 years. What has the ministry done? We are concessioning it out now. We're trying to get distance federal government for that construction. We are negotiating with a Chinese company that intend to take that rail line together with the Ajokuta steel plant. And they will carry it on from Itape down to Abuja and then down to the seaport in Warri. What does that do? All that solid mineral axis will be covered. But we have also introduced passenger train on that. We have not concluded negotiations with them. When we do, we will hand over to them.
Amechi also speaks on the agreement between Nigerian and the Chinese company to execute the railway projects, stating that Nigeria, apart from creating employment opportunities from the trip, will also get other benefits from the Asians.
Now, we have agreed with GE as follows. I give you Lagos Kano, you give me the following. A University of Transportation, because you don't dump technology on us and go. You must give me a University of Transportation. That university will train in railway graduates, marine engineering or marine graduates and aviation. And GE has agreed to do that. Not enough. I will not let you come into Lagos, Kano, if you will not also build the factory that will produce the locomotives, the wagons, and the coaches in Nigeria. That again, they have agreed. Finally, I will not let you do Lagos, Kano, if you will not do Port Harcourt, Maiduguri. That again, I think they have agreed. We have not concluded negotiations. So when I say agreed, I hope we don't disagree at any point in time. But so far, I think they have agreed that they will do Port Harcourt to Kano. The reason why I emphasize Port Harcourt to Kano is because Port Harcourt to Kano will start from Port Harcourt to Aba again, to Umahia, to Enugu, to Makurdi, Jos, Bauchi, Gombe, and then to Maiduguri. So if all this is done in the next 4 years, then we would have been able to connect the whole of Nigeria and reduce the impact that goods, to convey goods and services on the road will have on our roads.